All right. I won't do a long stream today because I'm very tired, but just a little bit. I wonder if Aaron is already here. Anyway. Oh, 1 second. Okay, the cat wanted inside, but when I opened the door, she decided she didn't want to go inside the room after all. Typical cat. Anyway, I was already wondering what the sleeping sound, what person it might belong to, when I thought about the last stream today, and I figured it might be Eva who fell asleep, and it seems I'm right. Looks like she's finally calmed down. Hideyoshi wiped his own forehead. For a time, Eva had seemed to be having a very painful nightmare. Oh, I wonder, which one? Did it involve drowning somebody in jelly? Also, check this out. Still a bit inside my nose, but I can breathe. I can breathe through both nostrils. That's a pretty big difference compared to a few days ago. As promised, he still gripped Eva's hand. He had thought it might be time to let go pretty soon, but he faithfully continued to hold on. Every once in a while, his hand would get tired and he would switch between his right and his left. But even so, as promised, he didn't let go of her hand. At that time, there was a heavy knock. Eva had finally been able to fall asleep, so Hideyoshi grimaced for just an instant. Aniki, Hideyoshi-san, sorry. Is Rosa there? Wonder who this is. Oh, it was Rudolph's voice. What could it be? Hideyoshi headed for the door, hiding his footsteps so that he wouldn't wake Eva. It was definitely Rudolph's voice, but just in case, he opened the door without removing the chain. What is it? Something happened to Rosa-san? We can't find Rosa or Maria-chan. I thought they might be with you. I heard her scolding Maria-chan in the corridor. They got quiet after that, so I thought they'd come back to the lobby. But did they? That idiot. Rudolph clicked his tongue. Other people could be seen in the corridor. Man, it looks kind of weird to see Klaus holding a shotgun. Rosa hadn't returned for a while after going out into the corridor, so they'd begun to worry. Near the front door, Natsuhi pointed at the unset chain. The chain isn't set. They must have gone outside to see that rose after all. How extraordinarily careless to go out and leave the door unlocked. What a troublesome person. I'm more worried about Rosa-san and Maria-chan themselves. Right. Hey, brats. Where was this rose of Maria's? Oh, they are here as well. I'm pretty sure it was in the flower bed right in the middle of the rose garden. If that's where they are, we should be able to spot them pretty quickly if we go. Yeah, you'll spot them alright, but not in the state you would like to find them in. Dad, shouldn't we bring them back here as soon as we can? Of course, we'll bring them back and give them a good spanking. I'll dash out there and come back. Lock the door as soon as I get out. Dad, I'll go with you. Don't be stupid. It's so obviously the brat's job to watch over the house with Mama. What kind of line is that? What is it? Did something happen? Sorry to wake you up. Seems Rosa-san took Maria-chan outside. How reckless of her. Rosa and Maria-chan are outside? In the rose garden? I wonder if she actually dreamt about what happened. That's right. Oh, did you hear? Maria-chan was causing a ruckus because he wanted to see the rose. They mustn't go to the rose garden. Tell Rosa to stop. Did she actually see that dream? Like, did she see that as a dream? Does this have anything to do with dreams? There's no telling her to stop now. It looks like they left a while ago. Seriously, how reckless is that? That's not it. Not the rose garden. There's a witch there, and she's waiting for a sacrifice. Rosa, you mustn't go. Oh. Eva cowered again, holding her head. Her complexion looked very bad. Where is it? Did the fever make you dream something bad? It's a dream. Yes. In the rose garden, the witch doing that to Rosa and Maria-chan. That's right. It's a dream. Must be. Calm down. I'm here in this room, and the chain is set. The shutter's closed on the window, and we've even got a gun. This room is just like a fort. There's nothing to be afraid of. Hideyoshi bit his chest, trying to calm her, but Eva's insecure expression didn't change. Under the covers, Eva kept praying that the grotesque nightmare she had just had was only a dream. Oh. The cat is there again. Maybe you should just pretend she's not here. Hold on. Okay, now she went inside. In the center of the rose garden, Rudolph identified the corpses of Rosa and Maria. Is it Katsui? After that, he returned to the guest house, called for help, and carried both of them into the guest house. If we can trust Nanjo's examination, the cause of Rosa's death was a stab to the medulla oblongata, with a pointed gate of the fence. It is thought that Maria's death was due to strangling with bare hands. Good lord. However, due to the devil's proof, we cannot discount a misdiagnosis. I was saying, right? Rosa and Maria died. The causes of death were as Nanjo diagnosed. That's at least good to know. She wasn't eaten by a spider, nor was she crushed by a mountain of cake. Don't worry. So you argue that even though you toyed with their death so much, it's all fine because the corpse is neat and clean? Definitely won't forgive you. Definitely won't forget all of that brutal treatment you gave on Rosa, so I won't forgive you. Well, like I said, that wasn't me. I believe I gave them a much more peaceful death than the way she treated them. Shut the hell up. I'm not talking to you. It was stated that there are no more than 18 people on this island, and now that 8 people are already dead, we can narrow the field of suspects down to 10. One of them probably killed those 2. Or could it also be an accidental death? Like Maria was having a tantrum, and when Aunt Rosa tried to stop her crying, she misjudged how much power she was using and accidentally killed her. Then she was so upset that she slipped and fell, landed on the fence, and unluckily died, yeah. That's a stretch. I mean, it's within the realm of the possible, sure, but it's also quite unlikely. How's that? That way there's no need for witch or magic. Well, that's not quite true. Actually, Rosa and Maria... Shut up. Didn't I say I wasn't talking to you? You're an eyesore, so disappear, you monster. Bella said that without rage, but with a horribly cold voice. That strange behavior was something Beato had noticed right off the bat. In a fight, both of them could go at each other without restraint. However, he wouldn't even step into the ring. She could feel that coldness. Beato didn't find that amusing. She thought about flaring up, but she held back. Maybe even though she was innocent and childish, she had enough sense to realize that she shouldn't pick fights. Is that so? Then I'll vanish. Renov, continue for me. Certainly. Will that be satisfactory, Bettler-sama? That guy's voice. There are no problems with her proposal. If Bettler-kun doesn't want to see Beato's face, perhaps that will do. Do what you like. If I can live without seeing that monstrous face again, I don't care about anything else. Hey, wait a second. You keep saying monster, monster, but isn't that a cruel way to speak of me? Why do you instinctively hate me so much, Bettler? Even though none of that was me, even though it was all the work of my disciple. It's not like I'm only mad about what happened just now. It's been like that from the very beginning. Hey, Battler, don't misunderstand, okay? Aren't we just a pair of players confronting each other through a game? We look for moves to make things painful for each other, but... don't get the wrong idea. I don't hate you because you're my rival in this strange game about whether I accept you as a witch or not. I just can't forgive how senselessly cruel you are. Well, serial murders are part of this game. It's probably impossible to avoid a little cruelty. Even if that were true, the whole thing with Rosa the other day, the fucked up tea party that was so messed up, that was not part of this game anymore. Could have held back there. I'm not just talking about what just happened. That was the last time, and the time before that too. Tearing everyone's stomachs open and stuffing them with sweets, plowing their faces. What was the point of all that? That's... well... when it comes to closed room murders and tricks and alibis, I'm willing to give you a pass. You want to claim that this is a murder done by magic, so I'll grudgingly accept that those complicated crimes need to occur. But what exactly is the point of all those grotesque murders? Well, nothing much. That's right. They don't mean anything. You're just fooling around by mangling the corpses for fun. That has nothing to do with whether you're a witch or whether it could or couldn't be done with magic. You're just exploring the depth of cruelty for fun. This isn't about whether you're a witch or anything like that. There are just some things I can't forgive as a human. What do you mean as a human? For example, the 6 people of the first Twilight for this game. Well, other than Grandfather being burned black, the other corpses were killed in a normal way without any unnecessary shaming of the dead. It wasn't clear whether the weapon was a spear or a gun, but anyway, as far as killing goes, that was acceptable. It was much better than the nonsensical grotesqueness and cruelty from the first Twilight last time, or the time before that. And this time there were 6 closed rooms tied together to make a closed room chain. That was sort of interesting. When we were going back and forth with each other that time, to be perfectly honest, I thought it was just a little fun. You were frantic to make me accept your existence, and I was frantic trying to deny it. We were both frantically doing all we could. This may sound weird, but I felt a faint sense of sportsmanship between the two of us. We exist in conflict, but I faintly thought that we might not be completely unable to understand each other's existence. But just now, that feeling was blown away without a trace. That's what you are misunderstanding. That wasn't me. That's not it. That's not what I'm talking about. You watched Aunt Rosa being killed horribly over and over, and you sneered at it like it was an interesting show. When I saw that, I was deeply disappointed in you. When I realized that your decision to kill them in a slightly better way this time was nothing more than a faint whim, and that nothing had changed in your cruel character, I was deeply disappointed. On the contrary, you were even genuinely enjoying those brutal deaths. You weren't just acting as cruel as you could to bully me. You truly, genuinely enjoy cruelty. Your character lets you enjoy it. You said I'd probably think that Aunt Rosa being brutally killed over and over was fun. You weren't joking. You enjoyed it from the bottom of your heart, wanted me to sympathize, and said that I'd probably think it was fun. In the instant, I lost respect for you and realized the truth. The problem isn't whether you're a witch or not. I will not forgive that cruelty of yours. And I can't understand it. I can't forgive it either. Still, I'll continue this game of whether to accept or deny witches. I won't step down and accept my own defeat. However, your pointless cruelty is absolutely unnecessary for that game, so I've decided that I won't accept you as my opponent. Ranov is 100 times better. He doesn't have the same cruel hobby you do. Even if he does, he doesn't have the awful taste to show it off in front of me. That's right, you have awful taste. You're heartless and cruel, so you can't understand. That's unpleasant in an opponent, so I don't want to see your face again. Damn. I mean, I understand his point of view, after all the messed up stuff. As Battler went on and on by himself, Beato was shocked into silence for a long time. Maybe she couldn't understand what she was being told, and this was a sign that she was doing all she could in an effort to understand. For a while she kept switching between angry expressions, frustrated expressions, bold expressions, as though even she herself didn't know what attitude she should take. In the end, she made her face into a candid expression as though she had come to her senses, and shrugged her shoulders as though she was tired. In that case, do as you like. From now on, I will continue this game through or no. You have no complaints as long as I don't show myself, right? For the time being. But I definitely won't forgive all of your cruel actions up until now, and I definitely won't accept you. For that reason as well, I won't back down from this fight you've picked. And I definitely won't lose. That's all there is to it. Beato, no matter how many more excuses you give, his impression will not waver. I have something to talk about later. Until then, stay back. Indeed. Understood. Then I'll vanish until you call. It's unexpected, once again. Didn't expect him to actually, I don't know, get rid of her. I wonder for how long, though. But yeah, I mean, seems to be in the nature of this visual novel to constantly throw new things at you that you didn't expect. Like, I was totally expecting her to be there throughout episode 3 and 4 as well, but who knows how long she might be gone now. Looking lonely, Beato turned her back to them and vanished. Bella watched, a slightly displeased expression on his face. He thought that his argument had been valid, but for some reason his mood didn't clear up. She's an idiot. That's true. An idiot, and a straightforward one. That idiot watched Aunt Rosa get killed horribly with me, then turned around with a huge smile on her face. She really believed that she could laugh with me at that cruel show. She really believed that I could sympathize with that emotion. Looking at that innocent smile, I feel just horrible. It would have been much better if she'd said it with her normal bullying face. Damn it. Milady has never had the experience of having a friend. In addition, she has probably never had something spoken to her that strongly. Madam and I are her attendants. What do you mean, Madam and I? You mean Originado Beatrice? She hasn't been here that long. So why would you call her attendant? Call her her attendant. Whatever. No matter what we say, it will not reach her ears. For milady, this is also... Don't screw with me. I don't remember ever becoming a friend. That's true enough. My apologies. There's one thing I would like to thank you for. Thank you for not backing down from that child's game. She spoke words of gratitude, but for some reason, Bella made a displeased face. Then, as though in self-derision, he chuckled. Now that I've even got witches and demons thanking me, I'm screwed. Let's resume the game. Of course I don't intend to go easy on you. I wouldn't have it any other way. Unlike milady, I do not get agitated. Well, it's good to know, that he also can use dread. He's already shown that to us. I've already made my move. If we suppose that Aunt Rosa is the culprit and died in an accident, I can deny the witch. I don't want to suspect Aunt Rosa, but I think I can bear to accept that premise if it'll beat the hell out of Beato. I will deny it with red. Rosa's and Maria's death were homicides. Okay, let's start from there. Damn, I'm just not getting fired up. I mean, who could it have been? Other than Eva through her dream? Maybe when you see the gold, you get the ability to dream up things that turn reality or something. Still, how would you even scientifically explain that? Because, I mean, the whole point of this so far has been that Battler wants to explain everything scientifically, right? Well, we'll see. With Rosa's and Maria's deaths, it was now clear that the culprit was still hiding somewhere, trying to add even more murders to this chain. As he shed tears, Rudolph scolded Rosa's corpse for being reckless several times, but Rosa would never respond to that again. They decided to place the two corpses in one of the guest rooms and to seal it until the police arrived. The murder of the second Twilight had delivered a heavy blow to everyone. It had blown away the optimism that some of them had held, the thought that a crime didn't actually occur and it was all a game or a farce by Kinzo and the servants. Yeah, I think seeing dead Rosa and dead Maria would definitely blow that away. trying to distract themselves from the loss of the people they liked. George and Jessica had spent the whole time since morning talking about every possibility, and they had distracted their hearts by supposing that these murders might actually have all been an act, and that Shannon and Conan were only pretending to be dead. When the next murder occurred, it destroyed that thought, and they were once again struck by the fact that the person they liked had most definitely been killed. The tears that they had thought had died away began to drip down once more, and Butler couldn't think of anything to say to them. After that, all of the adults checked that all of the rooms were safe and locked, just in case. They made certain that the shutters on all of the windows were down and locked, and they confirmed that no one suspicious was hiding anywhere. On top of that, they checked their weapons once again, and checked with each other to make sure they were mentally prepared so that they wouldn't hesitate to fire off a preemptive shot if they saw the shadow of a mysterious person. Webcam, please. Webcam. Okay. Rosa's gun had been found near the scene of the crime. Someone had gone out of their way to leave it there, so everyone suspected that it was some kind of trap. But when Hideyoshi delicately used a fire iron to fire off test shots, it was able to discharge without incident. Oh, I see, they thought... I guess they thought that maybe it was tampered with, so that it would, like, explode if you try to fire it again and would seriously hurt the person who tried to shoot it in the first place. So, since the 5 shots loaded into it had discharged without any problems, they reloaded it with bullets and handed it over to the only adult male who wasn't armed, Hideyoshi. However, the fact that it had been able to fire off 5 shots gave rise to a certain paranoia. This short-barrel Winchester could hold only 5 shots. In other words, Rosa hadn't fired even once, and yet the two had probably been killed by someone with their bare hands. This meant there was a possibility that the crime had been committed by someone whose face they knew. When the first murder occurred, I privately thought of the possibility that it was all an act. My apologies to Dr. Nanjo, but if he had actually been an accomplice, I thought the deaths of all the servants might possibly have been a massive, elaborate act by Father. After all, the closed room situation they were in couldn't have been created unless we suppose that it was all an act. We also suspected that. No, I still want to believe that's the case.
My apologies, but that is not so. I am quite old. I might possibly make a misdiagnosis. However, I would never mistake whether they were alive or dead.
I get it. Don't go out of your way to say it out loud, Dr. Nanjo.
My apologies.
They had no way of knowing, but Beato had already used the red to proclaim the death of the death of all victims so far in this game. That faint dream that it was all a farce, that the victims were actually alive. I'm sorry to say it, but that's impossible.
In that case, it makes more sense to assume it's someone familiar with the mansion, someone hiding around and carrying out a really well-polished crime. So ever since the typhoon came to this island and sealed it off from the outside world, there's been more than 80 people here.
Of course, there was no way for them to know about that either. That climb of Rudolph's has also been denied and read. There are no more than 18 humans on this island. Yeah, on this island. She only said on this island, or on this Rokkanjima. The fact that she used this still makes me wonder if there might be people on another island. Especially if you can, I mean, I already mentioned this last time, but if you consider that the staircase seemed to lead quite far down as well, that Eva found. I might have a way to look at it that keeps things consistent, at least a little. Simply put, this person in hiding is someone who shouldn't really be on this island right now, and yet there's a likelihood that they were someone Rosa's son knew, someone she'd let her guard down around. So for example, could it be a servant who wasn't on this 2-day shift?
It's hard to be certain about that one. When our servants finish their work and leave the island, it isn't as though we punched a ticket or something to make sure. If we're supposing that a servant on a shift from a few days ago only pretended to leave the island and actually stayed here, that will be hard to deny. I don't think Rosa's son is such a fool. If a servant who wasn't supposed to be here popped up in front of you, who wouldn't be on their guards?
I'm not even sure we should be assuming that it was someone she recognized. Maybe they suddenly attacked Rosa from the darkness and were about to steal her gun. Then Rosa fell, hit her head against the fence and stopped moving. The guest house was nearby and they wanted to avoid the sound of gunfire, so they killed Maria-chan with their bare hands.
There's also that possibility. Still, even that, if that is the case, would they really intentionally leave Rosa's gun at the scene of the crime? We don't know what the culprit is armed with, but they've got to feel insecure about our guns. Wasn't that a perfect chance for them to thin out our supply? Why would they intentionally leave it at the scene of the crime?
At first I thought that gun was a trap. That's what chessboard thinking says it should be. By purposefully leaving it, they wanted to make one of us touch it, and they must have wanted to make us pull the trigger. I was sure that something dangerous had been done to it, to make it explode and cause massive injuries.
But it was actually okay. The culprit probably panicked. I'll bet that right now they regretted that they missed their chance to steal a gun.
I don't like it. It ticks me off, like it's a message from the witch, saying she isn't even scared of guns. However, in any event, this is truly a fearsome opponent. Even at a glance, they should have been able to tell that Rosa had a gun. To think that they attacked her despite that, the fact that they are unafraid of guns should not be taken lightly.
Indeed. It's as Natsu says. We should probably be more cautious than we have been.
This is just for peace of mind, but at the time we think Rosa-san was attacked outside, where was everyone?
Natsuya and I were here, along with Rudolph and Kiryu-san.
Okay.
I can guarantee their alibis. Eva and I were together. I can guarantee that.
George, Aniki, Jessica, and I were together. When Aunt Rosa yelled at us to return to the second floor, we retraced our steps back to the cousin room all dejected. Back then, if we hadn't let Maria go, saying that isn't going to change anything. Dr. Nanjo?
I was reading a book in the room on the second floor.
Why is he stuttering? Then again, I mean... I don't know.
I was by myself, so no one can verify my alibi.
I mean, he was killed in the first episode, so it could also not really be him. And if we assume it's the same person every episode, but shouldn't it be? Or maybe it shouldn't.
But I believe everyone saw me return to the second floor with the children. Once I say this, it'll never end. But what if you jumped out the window, attacked Rosa, then climbed back up using a rain gutter or something? Don't be so absurd. How could I perform a feat such as jumping down from the second story or climbing up with this old body?
Let us stop suspecting each other. It's more important that we trust each other and, for the children's sakes as well, defend this place until the very end.
You're right. It's like Natsuhi-san says. For now, let's stop suspecting each other.
That's right. We may be useless as far as searching for the culprit is concerned. We can only stay alive until tomorrow, inform the police and follow their instructions, because the police will definitely expose who the culprit is.
Will they? Where is it, Eva? Is your body still feeling bad?
But Mother, what's wrong? Are you okay? Sorry. It looks like my fever is still strong. I'll be fine, so leave me alone.
When they looked,
they saw Eva staring at the floor, her breathing harsh again. She had been able to act firm for a time due to the urgency of the situation, but it seemed her body wasn't at its best after all. Yeah, I killed those two. Now we're the only ones who know about the gold. I won't give up even a scrap to the other siblings. What have you done? There was so much of that gold, right? Giving Rosa and the others their share wouldn't have been a problem at all, right? It would. That gold is to be passed on only to the head of the Ushinomiya family. That's because it, as a whole, represents no more or less than the honor of the head.
what if there really is something in the gold that causes I don't know what?
And that would explain why she is so adamant on not sharing it with anybody other than the person who found it first. To wound that even a tiny bit is definitely not something that I, the new Golden Witch Beatrice, will permit. Do you plan to continue these murders according to the witch's epitaph? Do you actually plan to become a murderer 5 more times? Yeah. If I don't finish that annoying ceremony, it seems my power as a witch won't become complete. Hey me. The power of the witch is really awesome. It really can make all the craziest things we imagine become reality. The power to make dreams more than just dreams. Now that I have learned of this power, I can no longer stop being a witch. If I can finish the ceremony and make my power complete, I'm sure I'll be able to teach you that feeling too. Stop acting like a fool. Haven't you played at being a witch enough? We found the gold, and we've even been promised the position of the successor. We'll probably need to tightrope walk just a bit, but by now that's a dream that will definitely come true. Beyond that, what more could you wish for? I wanted to become a witch. I don't give a damn about that dream. That's right, because I kept holding on to that dream. I've lived at this age forever. When you became an adult, you threw that dream away. No matter how long you wait, the rabbit holding a clock won't visit you, and you won't be able to meet Humpty Dumpty. Of course, you definitely won't be invited to the land of cards. Because you gave up and accepted all that, you became an adult. So you don't want to become a witch or anything like that anymore. You've even forgotten that it truly was your own dream at one point. Anyway, stop it. I've already gotten my hands on 2 dreams. The gold and the position of head. It's more than enough. So please, your dream has nothing to do with me. Stand down. No way. Magic's too interesting. Also, those 2 dreams of yours both came true because of my magic. It wouldn't be fair if my dream didn't come true too. I'm grateful for your magic and I acknowledge that you're a real witch. So just stand down and return to the inside of my heart and never appear again. No way. We're both misunderstanding each other, aren't we? That's right, I am not you anymore. You are Ushiro Mia Eva. I am the Golden Witch Beatrice. So it's not my responsibility to go back inside your heart. I guess I feel like a butterfly who's broken out of her cocoon, meaning you. The fever is making my mind cloudy. My inexperience with magical powers forcing me support in with your vitality. Until I finish the ceremony and become a full witch, you might have to bear the burden. I'll take that as payment for making 2 of your dreams come true. It's fine, don't worry, okay? For the remaining 5 sacrifices, I'll avoid your family. Let's see, Rudolph, Curia, Klaus, Natsuhi. After that, what about that old geezer, Nanjo? Perfect, I'll kill those 5 people. Could you call this a murder announcement revealed only to you? But if that's it, is that really gonna happen though? Also, I didn't check these yet. Ushidomiya Maria. Her corpse was found in the rose garden. The cause of her death was strangling, probably by bare hands. Circumstantial evidence makes it reasonable to assume that she was killed after Rosa. After? Then her blood became the thick red... her blood became the red ink for the witch's oath. Ushidomiya Rosa died in the rose garden with her medulla oblongata pierced by the spear-shaped part of the fence. If Maria's death hadn't been a clear homicide, it may have been possible to suspect an accidental death. In Rosa's case, this woman was the human sacrifice for the birth of the new witch. Eva finally crouched down. Hideyoshi rushed up to her and lent her his shoulder.
Are you okay? Let's take it easy and rest. Are you alright? Dr. Nanjo, take a look at Eva.
When Nanjo and George tried to approach, Eva made a gesture to stop them. Thank you. I'm fine, Dr. Nanjo. I'm taking medicine. I apologize for saying this during such an extreme situation, but let me rest a little longer. Mom, I'll lend a hand too. Thank you, but I'll be fine as long as your father watches over me. Go back to the second story of cousin room and don't come out no matter what. Understood? No matter what happens, you must not leave the guest house. Outside, that witch will... Oh.
Don't talk anymore. Sorry everyone, but I'll be watching over Eva in our room. Tell us if something happens.
Hideyoshi and Eva retreated from the lobby. However, Eva wasn't the only one who wasn't feeling good. They hadn't gotten a wink of sleep since the previous night and had been pressed by tension since that morning. They were mustering their energy to protect their families, but if they relaxed even a little, surely everyone would be down and out. Is Christian here now? Everything has gone as planned until now, but from here on out it will become difficult, you see. Difficult meaning? Indeed. Normally, as the ceremony progresses and the victims increase in number, they begin to tighten their guard, and in most cases they haul up in one place and stop moving. That is extremely inconvenient for us. Are you saying that we witches are inferior to a bunch of humans in a group? Witches are never inferior to humans. However, perhaps you could say that times change and that humans have gotten their hands on a poison. This wasn't a problem long ago when people believed in witches, but just like that annoyance battler, people in the current era deny magic on a fundamental level. In other words, their existence itself is anti-magical. As a result, at some point they grew to possess a toxin inside their bodies that denies magic. In other words, you're saying that the more human there are, the stronger that magic-resisting toxin gets, and the greater the disadvantages for us witches? the combined amount of power in their hearts that denies magic, in other words their magic resistance power, becomes the denominator in the equation of your magic's power. Understand? Is that a bit too difficult for you? You're joking. Actually, I understand it easily. In other words, you're saying that the more people there are who don't believe in magic, and the stronger their will is, the more the effects of our magic are divided. Yeah, if it's so formulaic, I'll have to rethink my method of attack. Fundamentally, magic possesses a vast power. It can even make a rain of fire fall from the heavens or divide a sea, and reviving a lost life isn't impossible either. However, that power is extremely weak against the toxin that rejects it. And that toxin started piling up in humans since the time they forgot to respect things sacred, until finally this earth was covered with enough toxin that the miracles of magic could not be displayed. Thus, witches from across the world were chased from their dwellings. They had been forced to choose to throw away their magic and live as humans, or else live in hiding in remote areas where the toxin of humans didn't reach. In that sense, Rokkanjima, with its population of only a few dozen humans, was extremely favorable for witches, and even more favorable was the existence of the ghost story about the witch who lived in the Rokkanjima forest. In other words, by permeating the island with the fear that a witch might exist, the magic-resisting toxin from the humans was weakened. A small population and room for them to acknowledge magical beings. In other words, minds that were only weakly anti-magical. Only by existing in the valley where those two converged could a witch live in modern times. I see. So using this formula, we can arrive at several rules for how a witch can use her power efficiently. The first is presentation. Create a murder scene that couldn't conceivably have been done by humans. Decorate it in a cold way. Make it look very much like a witch exists, and permeate people with fear to make them believe that witches exist. As a result, the anti-magic power and the denominator for our magical power will be decreased. I see. So this is why the creepy magic circles of the first Twilight were created? That's right. Exactly. She kinda doesn't look like that's right. Maybe she just wants her to not be so brutal anymore. The gaudy scenes for the first Twilight in each game are all for that reason. It's definitely not as though I like being cruel or I'm doing it for fun. Yeah. In that case, predecessor Sama, you failed this time around. You killed them in a very plain way. It doesn't look like anything more than a simple mystery. I heard about last time and the time before that from Renault. You should have damaged the corpses more grotesquely, like you did then, making it look more like fantasy and instilling fear in those people. But well, about that, I thought it wouldn't be artful to do that every time, you see. Don't think too deeply on it, it's just a whim. Actually, it really had been her whim. After what Battler had said to her, she couldn't say it out loud anymore, but she really had decided her methods of killing based on mere whims. No, would it be better to say that she had half-heartedly let Renault decide? After all, she left the closed rooms of this game's first Twilight to him. But if she'd had a cruel idea, then she would surely have explored the limits of atrocity even worse than in the previous game. You told me to show some restraint when deciding Rose's and Maria's death too, but that wasn't a course of action beneficial to us witches either, was it? In actuality, by now none of them believe one bit that a witch actually exists. They're totally sure that it's a mystery, not a fantasy. This turn of events is a failure from a witch perspective. For some reason you keep doing things in a kinda lukewarm way, predecessor Sama. Like they say, things you learn when you learn will definitely help you out in the future. This is a test passed on from my predecessor to you. Take it on with respect. Wahaha. Pietro tried to laugh heartily, but it was obviously the fake laugh of someone trying to cover something up, and the new witch shrugged with a sigh. At this stage, it's probably too late to create a scene and reduce the anti-magic power. In that case, there's another move. Getting the humans to split up should work. Indeed, that is probably the most effective way. The smaller the number of humans, the more the denominator shrinks. As a result, the magic power functions instantaneously. In other words, it all begins from one point: how to destroy this barricade situation and have them split up into small groups. However, they are already very cautious. The barricade won't be destroyed easily, right? Both the barricade in Kinzo's study 2 games ago and the barricade in the parlor last time were very stubborn. Furthermore, most of the cunning adults still remain this time. The situation is more difficult than all the ones before it, understand? If you wish, I could give you some special advice. In a closed circle, when the first murder case occurs, the survivors always huddle up, gathering together to observe each other and ensure their safety. Funnily enough, not only do mystery authors and murder culprits worry about how to break that situation apart, but so do witches who supposedly exist at the other end of the spectrum. For a while, the new witch poked her cheek with her pointer finger, and after acting as though she was planning something, she spoke. "No, I'm fine. After all, it's a test. I won't borrow your moves." Really? Still, it will be rather difficult to defeat this barricade, right? I've already made my move. I'm pretty sure it'll work. And it'll definitely work on someone smart. Is that so? You really are excellent. I'm pleased to see that my disciple won't be causing me much trouble. My motto is to study things myself before asking other people. And if you would excuse me, I have to wait for my prey to get lured out. Indeed? Well then, handle it with care. As the new witch lowered her head, her face blank, she turned into gold butterflies and vanished. Beato didn't look happy at all. She seemed to be lonely because of how little she was being relied on. Not one of them gives a fig for me. You witch apprentice, acting so smart. I'll bet she makes some painful mistake and starts crying. Then, without a doubt, she'll finally realize my greatness and beg me to teach her. Until then, I shall watch from on high. She laughed loudly on the outside, but a laugh no one can hear is completely pointless. Beato gave up and quickly stopped laughing. Renove chose that time to show himself. Excuse me, milady. The game of the second twilight with Battler Summer has ended. I see. Good work. What was the result? My sincere apologies. I was forced to resign. By saying in red that both deaths were homicides, I made Battler Summer revise his claim of Rosa strangled Maria to death and died in an accident, but it could not repel his chain of moves, placing Eva as the principal offender. Wasn't Eva sleeping in her room the whole time as Hideyoshi cared for her? He put forth the possibility that Hideyoshi was an accomplice, and that the two worked together to create an alibi. He even suspects Hideyoshi? Couldn't he have struck back by saying in red that he was in the guest room at the time of the murder? I also thought of that, but multiple important pieces might have been taken several moves later, and because this move might be connected to the new Beatrice Summer strategy, I acted out of respect to her. My apologies. Strategy, you say? Her mind does seem to be sharp. We can let her do as she pleases. It will be quite a show to see how far she can go. I thought you would say that. I see that the uncuteness of your disciple has left you in a bad mood. That's none of your business. I wonder how that one plans to destroy this barricade going forward. I shall keep a close eye on her. Oh, and how was Battler's mood? It appeared as though he had calmed himself down. He did say that he couldn't get fired up after all without you as his opponent. Really? Well, that's no surprise. No surprise at all. If I don't return for the fourth twilight and after, Battler will probably be lonely himself. And with that, if you would excuse me, I need to go bake some delicious cookies. I must at least enliven the discussion between you and Battler Summer, milady. Indeed, that guy really was munching your cookies, wasn't he? It's no surprise that a boy can't eat so much. Make a lot of them. Certainly, I shall make enough cookies to bury the table. That sounds great. Wonder where Christian is. Or maybe he's there, just not in the chat. What's going on? What did you want to talk about? Kyria called Rudolph out into the corridor. It was obvious that she wanted to talk about something that she didn't want the others to hear. Yeah. I want to go outside. The fuck? Why is it still there?